All right, everyone, I want to thank everyone for coming out. It's so cool to see a packed house here in Chicago for Rebel Force Radio Live. You guys are the greatest. I can't believe it. It's almost surreal for me to have so many of you guys here in my town. So I hope you have time to get out and see the city. But for tonight, we are going to immerse ourselves in some crazy Rebel Force Radio stuff. So I'm so happy you guys are... I mean, usually me and Jason, it's just us staring at a wall. So this is kind of like, whoa. But this is our friend Glenn Nelson from High Adventure. Glenn's been with us for a long time.
Yeah. Naked in the house! Take your shirt off, bud!
All right, I hope you guys are keeping the bartenders and waitresses very busy tonight, okay? I want you guys really to have a lot of fun. We are going to party. And so before we start the show, Glenn is going to play a couple of songs here and kind of warm you up, get you in a party mood. And then when he's done, we'll take it from there. So thank you, everyone, for coming out for Rebel Force Radio Live in Chicago. I can't believe it's finally here. All right, let's go. Glenn Nelson, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks, Jimmy. This is one of the first songs you ever played for me on back in the old days on that old podcast there. It's called X-Wing High. The reason I will run away from the fate of playing upon is a vengeance for the call from the dust of Alderaan. The ship will be my tool for answering the cries of slaves within the empire, but bringing down its ties. I was born to ride, soaring across the stars in my X-Wing high, bring an end to an endless war. I'm prepared to live or die. Let this cockpit be my coffin or my place to fly. In my X-Wing high, I would leave false comfort found inside a tyrant's lies, for the dangers that are laid beyond my homeworld skies. When I lock the S-foils, Imperials will learn that this old fighter packs a punch and takes a lot of burn. I was born to ride, soaring across the stars in my X-Wing high, bring an end to an endless war. I'm prepared to live or die. Let this cockpit be my coffin or my place to fly. In my X-Wing high, now your B-Wing has its turns and the A-Wing has its speed, but this old X-Wing has it all its own. I'll ever need the story that is never told in the lines of a soldier's face is why we choose to fight and fly and maybe die in space. When they see us coming home, Chicago, Illinois will cheer. With the rogues I'll always roam, our destinies are clear. I was born to ride, soaring across the stars in my X-Wing high, bring an end to an endless war. I am prepared to live or die. Let this cockpit be my coffin or my place to fly. I was born to ride, soaring across the stars in my X-Wing high, bring an end to an endless war. I'm prepared to live or die. Let this cockpit be my coffin or my place to fly. In my X-Wing high, in my X-Wing high, in my X-Wing high. Thank you. No, this was my first time playing in Chicago. It's my first time actually being in Chicago, so this is pretty freaking awesome. All right, and I guess if I have a so-called hit, I suppose this could be it. And this song, to this day, after all these years of singing it from my heart, it still has meaning. And I hope you love it. It's called The Fate of Ahsoka. What is the fate of Ahsoka? Her destiny's unknown. What is the fate of Ahsoka when so beloved she's grown? Same old galaxy far away in the days of Obi-Wan. Winds of war blew from Geonosis to Christosis, a Padawan for Anakin, much to his chagrin, but her faithful heart found a place within to learn the art. At the side of a champion, her most avian aptitude, gaining stride in heart of war, going far with attitude. With her most trusted friend, would these battles ever end? Foes gaining at the fight, fallen brothers left behind. Will she grow to be a knight? Will her feet stand strong against the wind and blackest night? Will her tails grow long? Or will she fall in fight or find a way to make alive? Well, no one knows the fate of Ahsoka. An army given to command by a hand pulling strings. Youth can be so reckless, witnessing her Jedi teachings. Will she heed the laws of wise that her master still defies? Can she keep the peace while the Sith and Empire rise? And will she grow to be a knight? Or will her feet stand strong against the wind and blackest night? Will her tails grow long? Or will she fall in fight to find a way to make alive? Story goes, but no one knows the fate of Ahsoka. Apprentice of the chosen one, where were you for verse 3? Premonitions getting worse. By the Force, what will we see? At this point held so dear, could you somehow disappear? To know your master's doom leads down the path of fear. Hey, yeah. Will she grow to be a knight? Or will her feet stand strong against the wind and blackest night? Will her tails grow long? Or will she fall in fight to find a way to make alive? The story goes, and the loving grows. Still we don't know the fate of Ahsoka. Thank you.
Glenn Nelson.
Thank you guys so much. Woo.
Get full access to RFR only on Patreon. Become a member of the RFR Patreon community to get more Rebel Force Radio. Bonus shows and content are available right now only at patreon.com/Rebel Force Radio.
This is where the fun begins.
A long
time ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
This is Rebel Force Radio.
Your source for the Force.
Star Wars news and commentary.
With Jason Swank and Jimmy Mack.
I've seen Star Wars 500 times. Star Wars #1.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe. I suggest we use it.
Now it's time for Rebel Force Radio.
We would be honored if you would join us.
This is just like my basement at home. No different. Damn. What a crowd. Well, Star Wars Celebration Chicago. Star Wars comes home? Yes. I don't know. I have long since joked that since Jimmy Mack joined the podcast, like 12 years ago, 13 years ago, that things started happening Star Wars-wise in Chicago.
Yes.
You know, one of the big deals was George Lucas, the maker himself, married a Chicago native, Melody Hobson.
Yes.
And then he moved here.
And I thought for sure I'd see him at Macy's, sitting there in that chair as our wives try on things in the dressing room, also known as the idiot chair. I look over, there's George Lucas sitting there.
But he was all this excited. Here was George. He was getting married again.
Yes.
And he sold the company.
And he sold.
And he stopped making Star Wars.
Well, he did, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
He retired.
He retired. I'm out. But so I'm just asking the question about Star Wars in Chicago.
Yes.
And whether or not this is this a good thing? Is Star Wars in Chicago? What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Does Star Wars belong in Chicago?
It's about time. Yes, we deserve it. We didn't get that damn museum, so at least we got something.
Yeah. Well, how many of you here tonight are Chicago natives?
Yeah, all right.
We got a lot of Chicago natives. And I know you, Jim, you've been asked this a few times, but because you are a wily Celebration veteran.
Veteran, yes.
Yeah. And but now it's in your own backyard.
Yes.
What is that like? I can't imagine, being from the Cleveland area, Star Wars Celebration coming to Cleveland.
Right.
I mean, Solo in Ohio was weird enough for me. Because it was like, your normal life and then your podcast life like coming together. It was very strange. So what's this like for you?
It's still sort of sinking in.
Uh-huh.
But it does feel like all of the other events, It has that same great vibe, the same feeling of passion and community, and a lot of the same great people that have been in other celebrations. So it doesn't really matter where we're at. I'm sure it's convenient, but other than that, it just feels like the family reunion,
You know what I like about it?
What?
I like about it that when you forget things, you're only like 20 minutes away from home.
Yeah, no FedEx runs.
You have actually, Wendy has FedExed a lot to you over the, I remember one year it was a pair of jeans that got FedExed to you.
My favorite.
Yeah, you had to have those jeans. What's with those jeans?
I like them. They fit well.
Well, how about another hand for High Adventures Glenn Nelson, ladies and gentlemen?
Great job, Glenn.
You talk about, this being, I don't know, if we were to continue to number these, what celebration number is this?
13, yeah, 13. The lucky 13.
All right. What's really incredible about this, and it doesn't get old, is the fact that every couple of years we can come together, and some of these folks, like Glenn Nelson, have been with us from the very beginning. And I mean, that's 12, 13 years ago that we started doing this kind of thing. And to be sitting here more than a decade later and have Glenn still sitting right here on the stage with us and playing music and like no time has passed, it really is amazing. So thank you, Glenn Nelson.
Yes, very talented.
It's fantastic. You can talk. You've got a hot mic.
Well, I think back to that first time that I met you guys, and I was taking the airplane ride to Dallas, and I was extremely nervous that I was going to meet Jimmy Mack.
Oh, please.
And I'm not lying. And Jason
I'm
Swank.
still nervous.
And I was so nervous on the plane. I'm like, what am I going to say? I hope I'm cool.
You passed the test, my friend. You certainly passed the test.
Thank you, Jimmy.
And thank you for saying that with my family sitting right over here. I appreciate it. Seeing Dad in a different light, aren't you? But like I said, it's a family affair. So
there's no doubt.
We do have many family members in the house, RFR and actual family, like blood relatives.
When you talk about people that have been with us from the beginning, there is a guy that has been with you almost from the very beginning.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's your brother in the flesh, my brother in the force. How about a hand for Billy Mack? Come on, Billy!
So, did you bring anything with you?
I got this shirt.
Let him warm up a little bit. Jeez. You gotta get to the climax so quickly, Jim. Yeah. Well, so, at these celebrations, this is number 13, it's fun to kind of look back and reminisce about celebrations of old. And you guys, both of you, you go back all the way to Celebration 2 in Indianapolis, Indiana. Anybody here, other than these two guys, have been to the Indianapolis celebrations 1, 2, 3? You got wow.
Those are fun.
Anybody been to that went to Celebration 1 back in 1999?
That one guy.
One lonely clap.
People.
Yeah. Well, you get the award. I don't know what it is, but you get the award.
It's Chris Mock, by the way.
Oh, is that Mock? Of course, Mock doesn't count. Oh, another guy. Oh, two. Wow.
Great.
You'll get your chance, Chris.
Yeah, don't strain your voice, Chris. Yelling at us. So, Celebration 2. You guys now. Jim had a reason because he was going there to cover the big event for his radio career. What was your excuse? What made you want to go down there?
Well, I'm a Star Wars fan. I mean, me and Jim grew up Star Wars fans, and that was the first time I'd ever seen somebody dressed up as a stormtrooper. I mean, that Now you stormtroopers are a dime a dozen. But, 501st. Well, I love you guys. And basically, as a Star Wars fan and Jim's flunky, more or less, because we were involved in a lot of guerrilla-style reporting with the stars of Star Wars. So that led to some interesting encounters, to say the least.
Those of you who have only been to the more recent celebrations, you don't know that. I mean, it was like the Wild West. I mean, Autograph Alley, you would have all of the actors, with the exception of maybe the late, great Carrie Fisher, right? I think she was the first to be what they call tented in the autograph hall, where they put the the black around, Yeah. And then once Anthony Daniels saw her that she was tented, then he had to be tented as well. So he kind of ruined the whole thing. But up until that point, they would just sit at tables, and if there weren't lines for the celebrities at the time, you could just kind of walk up and have a conversation with them. And when you talk about the guerrilla tactics, that's one of the ways that Jim, you got a lot of interviews that way.
Yeah. And sometimes they were very short, but Richard LaParmont here brings up some memories. Yeah. You don't have that audio, do you, handy?
I don't. I don't have that. I don't have that. But this is going somewhere, I promise.
Okay,
going somewhere. But there was one bit of audio that was not planned. And I think, if I remember right, it took years for this to be unearthed. And now we got both of you right here. And not only that, but Jimmy's wife, Wendy, is right over there. Wendy Snyder from WGN. And one other person that figures into this drama is Michael Mack. Now, stand up, Michael. Let everybody see you. There you are, Michael Mack.
All grown up.
Yeah. Go back to Celebration 2, however, and he wasn't the big, strapping, independent adult that he is now. How old was Michael at Celebration 2?
He was 6.
He was 6 years old.
Yeah.
And he goes to this thing. There's going to be 30, 40,000 people in this convention center. Mm-hmm. And he walks in with his dad and his uncle.
Yes.
I mean, what could go wrong?
Right. It's a very responsible duo, yeah. That was until Barry Holland, who was an Imperial officer in Return of the Jedi, he was signing autographs for $5 a piece. So that distracted me, and I went over to get that $5 autograph. I mean, come on. Did you imagine $5?
You almost traded your own son for $5.
Well, when I returned, actually, Bill approached me while I was standing in line. And I noticed Bill was without an item that we had walked into the building with, and that was my son, Michael.
I'm never going to live this down.
And then Bill says, well, I thought he was with you. So I got my autograph. Come on, it was $5, you know?
Oh, my God, where is Michael? What did you do? Can you sign it to Jim? Where is Michael?
And so panic then set in when we realized there were 30,000 people in this convention center 3 hours away from home. Yeah. And, I'd have a lot of explaining to do if I returned without the redhead.
Yeah.
So, panic. And I think we started, snipping at each other a little bit. And,
right. But eventually you agreed that the best thing to do would be to try to go find Michael.
Right? We got around to that.
Okay.
We
got the autograph. You had a fight, blamed each other, and then you remembered at the end of the day you had lost 6-year-old.
So we were going to the proper authorities and reporting this missing child when all of a sudden, to my surprise, my relief, and I was just so happy to hear the next thing that happened. And it's one of these rare moments in time where we can actually provide you with that moment in history.
Yeah, this audio came about, it had been several years after the actual incident. Jim was telling the story on the show, and then we got an email from somebody who happened to be taking a video recording of something going on in the convention hall when this was overheard.
Attention attendees, Jim or Bill Mcinerney, you have lost an item. You will find it at the information desk outside the exhibit hall. Thank you.
If you can hear it as Jim or Bill Mcinerney, you have lost an item, right? And the item was the redheaded kid. So he was a little shaken. Do you remember this, Michael?
I'm not an item.
Okay, he said he's not an item.
I'm a person, and my name is Michael.
So we found Michael. He was shaken, but
not stirred.
He was all right.
Thank you. Someone had to say it. Well, all's well that ends well.
Yes.
Yeah.
We returned home with my son.
Now, how long did it until you actually confessed to Wendy that this had happened?
I'm just hearing about this now.
Oh, she said she just heard about this now.
Tragedy plus time equals comedy. But what are the odds that somebody would be watching a videotape of this event years later and heard that over the loudspeaker and said, I know what the item was. And because we had talked about it on the show. So, I mean, it's like that small world, where you guys are all just as much a part of the show as anyone up on this stage. And you guys do a really good job of keeping us on our toes at all times.
Yeah. Were you disappointed to find out that the item was not your missing Barry Holland autograph?
That's framed on the wall in my house.
Yeah, it is.
It's up on the wall. It's a trophy now.
So all these years pass. You got Michael. He's safe and sound. He's sitting there. He's got this flourishing music career. He's a college student. I think you did a lot of things right. So that might have been one thing wrong, but I think you guys have done a lot of wonderful things.
I'm glad we found him. I'm glad we found him. He turned out okay.
I think a lot of that blues music was written, though, while in that time that you were lost, right? Might not come in.
I'm feeling so lonely.
We found him. He was sitting out there with the guitar.
So, Bill, what did you bring for us?
Who? Huh? What?
So, I guess we might as well get to that. Everybody wants to know. No one really wanted to see you, honestly. I think when they saw you were here, all they wanted to know is, did you bring it? Is he here?
Well, would you all like to talk to... Are you sure you want to talk?
Wait. Here, let's see what he travels first class. Let's see here. Can you? Well, you're quite you. It's the circle of life. You held him up like Simba. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only Puppet Lando.
It's a real pleasure to be here.
Wow.
I see a lot of familiar faces out there. Are you all still hanging around with these losers? And you're looking pretty good too, Billy Mack. I've noticed your mouth moves as I talk. I don't know what that is. Well, anyway.
Wow, Puppet Lando, I can't tell you what a pleasure it is to be here. I'm a big fan. I absolutely loved your incredible, thorough review of this Jabba sail barge, which is available on the Rebel Force Radio YouTube channel.
That was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah. It was a real blast going over all those tiny details, and I didn't see that woman with the 6 breasts in there though, but I was looking.
Wow.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Well, as we sit here at Celebration Chicago, the 13th, this is your first Star Wars celebration.
Yeah, maybe you'd all like to join me for some refreshments. You're all invited, of course.
There's so many exciting things happening in Star Wars. Obviously, the films, and I know you're really excited to see yourself in Episode 9. I mean, that's going to be a big deal.
Yeah, well, listen, we all know that we need a lot more smoothness and character brought back to these sequels. And yeah,
look at me like that. It really is unnerving, folks. If you're those eyes. All right, so obviously the films, we got TV series starting. There's even going to be. Did you hear about this? There's an amusement park, Star Wars Land, Galaxy's Edge, at Disney World and Disneyland. It's going to be incredible. You're going to be able to fly the Falcon again.
Yeah. Well. The Falcon.
You're obviously very excited.
Well, that goes way, way back.
Yeah.
I mean, Donald Glover had his time in there, and of course, I'm happy to. I got to get my wet bar back there and my wardrobe all organized. I mean, that takes a lot of time.
I could see you spending a lot of time. I could see you spending a lot.
Swank's gonna lose.
I can see you spending a lot of time at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. There's a lot of things that a very sexy Muppet puppet thing like yourself could do. I know that you're very excited about Oga's Cantina that's opening up, right?
Yeah. There's an entire mix of unexpected flavors.
I don't know if you heard
space-worthy colors. I'd like to tell you about him, actually.
I would love to hear about him. Would you please?
Hey, Piano Man.
Right away.
Hey.
Puppet Lando.
Oh, yeah. Give me a little... There we go. Oh, yeah. Hey, maybe slow... Hey, slow it down just a little bit.
Yeah, that might be a little too... Maybe something like a little more dinner jazz, maybe not so...
Yeah, something really
bluesy,
jazzy.
Something smooth.
Just tickle those ivories for me, would you?
Think of something smooth. Tickle the ivories.
Nice and smooth.
Yes, like a Colt 45. No, I don't have one for you, Lando.
You know that works every time.
It does. It does.
Rule number 1, never run out of Colt 45 more liquor.
Can we lower the volume on the keys maybe just a little bit? There we go.
All right. Hey, yeah.
So what are they serving up at these cocktails that are going to be available now at Disneyland Star Wars Galaxy Edge?
Let me tell you, Jimmy Mac, we got the Orange Outer Rim. This is a galactic twist on a margarita with a black salt rim. And the citrus-based Fuzzy Tauntaun.
What's in that, Billy D?
It's first of all, it's topped with yellow foam. That kind of reminds me of those vintage trash compactors.
Oh yeah.
So these are two of the brightest and most exciting concoctions to be found at the Star Wars-inspired bar and lounge. But there are plenty of other boozy secrets in store. Let me tell you about those. We got the bitter grapefruit Jedi mind trick. It's not going to work on Jabba, but it serves up surprises with its sweet turned savory botanical transformation. Oh, I know you want one right now. We got a little something else called the Yub Nub.
What's in that, Puppet Lando?
Well, this pairs we got here? Passion fruit with rum punch, and this is guaranteed to knock Wicket the Ewok right on his keister. Oh, and now here's my favorite, the Bespin Fizz. Yeah, that's right, I say Bespin. And I'm from Cloud City, so that makes me a Besbian. So the Bespin Fizz gives the cosmopolitan a shimmery, bubbly twist. Early risers will cherish the bloody rancor. Yeah, that's how you like that. That's a spicy lemon pepper number. It's kind of like a Bloody Mary with a meringue bone garnish. This is a reference to the Star Wars film that I was in, which you might remember called Return of the Jedi.
Yes.
Some of you may remember my little maneuver at the Battle of Ten Nab.
No, I don't think so. That was going to be in the second solo
What do you
movie.
think, Billy Mack? I think if I have some of these cocktails, I'm going to be doing all kinds of maneuvers.
All right, how about one more? Is there one more drink we can hear about?
Well, Jimmy Mack, we're still waiting on the details, but we got stuff like Jet Juice, the T-16 Skyhopper, and a Dagobah Slug Slinger. So you get a few of these drinks in you, and you're guaranteed to have an intoxicating time at the Galaxy's Edge.
Well, thank you very much, Puppet Lando, for giving a preview of the cocktails we'll be able to imbibe upon at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. Very good.
I hope to see you all there.
Do you want to say hi to this side of the room? I don't think they really got a taste.
Oh, hey, how you doing, everybody?
Yeah, there they go.
Yeah. Well, I got to say hello. I'm responsible. That's the price you pay for being successful.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Billy Mack and Puppet Lando. Wow. It's just like being there. It's just like being on Cloud City, isn't it?
It really is. Hey, while we're in the Puppet Lando mood, we have a special surprise. We've got another Clevelander here with us. Not just me, but a good friend of ours, Chris Mcinerney is here. Chris?
Chris from Cleveland.
Cleveland Chris.
What up, Chicago? So, I love exclusives. Who picked up any exclusives today? Okay. So, Puppet Lando, right? I'm going to send you guys home with a little piece of Puppet Lando. I put together a fun little exclusive for you guys.
Oh, this is great. This is a Puppet Lando pin on a little mini vintage card. So there you go. We're all going to get one. Thanks,
so I'll hand
Chris.
these out to you guys tonight after the show. Cool.
It's amazing.
Chris from Cleveland. I hope everyone got their RFR Live in Chicago lanyards.
You get a Lando pin. You get a Lando pin. You get a Lando pin.
We also have some RFR Live in Chicago stickers. So just see Chris, and he will set you up. This is incredible. This.
You see?
Where's Bill?
It's on the...
Bill, did you see this? What do you think of this? Yeah, it's unbelievable.
It's on a vintage card. Of course, this is the vintage Lando photograph. And did you notice that Puppet Lando has been superimposed over the real Billy D's head?
Yeah.
You got Boba Fett, Darth Vader, and Puppet Lando.
It's that, this deal keeps getting worse all the time. And there it is with Puppet Lando in there. Maybe we can coax George out of retirement for another special edition. A very special edition. The Puppet Lando special edition of Empire Strikes Back.
Well, we're going to keep things all in the family for a little bit longer, if you don't mind, and bring up someone. We've only had Wendy on the show one other time.
Oh, that's not true. Because there have been times when you weren't on the show and Wendy was. If I remember some RFR meetups in Orlando at Disney Star Wars weekends, Wendy was always there to jump on a microphone and provide us with really a carbon copy of Frank Oz's Yoda voice. It's the most impressive. So now you're going to have to do it.
I only had the pleasure of sitting in on the show with Wendy one other time.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
All right. We've got her here tonight from WGN. Ladies and gentlemen, the great Wendy Snyder.
Do a Yoda impression?
Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
Just say, do or do not, there is no try.
Do or do not, there is no try. That isn't even it. I can't do it. Don't make me do this stuff. I love Salacious Crumb.
Well,
I can't do it, though.
It is great to have you, and thanks for filling in, apparently, on all those shows that I wasn't on.
It was fun.
Okay. I didn't know. But, so... I got a question for you. It's been on my mind for, about 12, 13 years.
Great.
How do you do it? Every day. Every day. I mean, just 2 hours a week exhausts me. Where's this? Where's that? What's going on with spinning plates?
Oh, how do I deal with him?
Yes.
You get used to it after a while. You do.
Yeah.
You're dealing with that now this weekend, aren't you?
I am. I just, it's wonderful, but it's...
There was a time when I was head of a department, and so I tried flexing my muscles, saying, no, I am the head of the department. And somebody said, well, you don't manage anyone. You're the only person in the department. And I said, well, I'm very difficult to manage. So I wanted a little credit.
Yeah, but you've known him obviously longer than most people here, other than
Billy Mack.
Yeah, right. And I heard something interesting.
He's trying to get dirt out of me. You know that, Jim.
No.
Step in.
This is your life, Jimmy Mack. But it's instructive. But I heard something interesting. Jim said something earlier this week about running into a friend after not having seen him for maybe 10, 15 years. And he said, the great thing about you is you've never changed. think that's true about this guy? Would you say?
Oh, he's the same person. When you have a passion, your passion stays true. And Star Wars, Led Zeppelin, he has added the Grateful Dead. That's fine.
Yes.
That has ratcheted up a little bit over the last couple of years.
Yeah, that's just pumping up too much, dude.
They're the two biggest San Francisco-based fan franchises, Star Wars and the Grateful Dead. So I support them both.
Star Wars has more songs than the Grateful Dead. There's just one long song. I like the Dead. Don't get me wrong. If you're into a jam, that's what you're going to get.
When you go to a Star Wars movie, you light up a lightsaber. When you go to a Grateful Dead concert, you light up a...
Now you're calling it a lightsaber?
So how long was it that the two of you knew each other before you knew what a Star Wars fan he was? Does he lead with that?
No.
Yeah, I'm Jimmy Mack. I'm a big Star Wars fan.
I had not seen Star Wars when we started dating.
This is true.
Is that going to be a groan? No, good.
No,
All right.
It was great, though, because I got to sit her down and show her the original trilogy when she'd never seen it.
I loved it.
I said, sweetheart, things will never be the same between us after this. And she's like, no, it's just a movie. Just a movie.
But to me, it kind of... I love seeing all you guys out here. I love that you're loving what they're saying, their podcast, Rebel Force Radio. You guys get into this, don't you? That, to me, is so exciting. I saw the movies. I loved them. I loved the music. I loved Chewbacca. If I could do Chewbacca, I'd be happy with that.
Well,
but
looks like I don't have to be buying razors anymore. I'm going to be cultivating a whole new look, you guys.
I will say, when I first started dating you, you had a mullet much like Chewbacca.
Yes. I called it my Wookiee mullet.
Yes, you did not. But I just, I love the movies. I see them once, maybe twice, and I can move on.
But that's not
I
enough.
love, the one thing that's in this room is passion. You find something you love, passion, man.
There you go.
I'm proud of you guys.
Well, that's, I think, why everyone's here. And to spend a lot of money. Passion ain't cheap, let me tell you. Passion ain't cheap.
Yeah.
But I didn't know he was that much. And you weren't that much into Star Wars when we first started dating.
Well, there has been a little something of a revival since 1994. 2 trilogies now, other movies, animated shows, conventions.
When did the Star Wars room come to fruition in our house?
Oh, that was an evolutionary process, of course.
Did it start out as a Star Wars corner?
Closet.
Closet.
Star Wars closet.
Okay.
I gave him a closet.
Because you could shut the
Yes.
door, right? That was the right. Okay.
Yeah, but I came out of the closet.
Yes, you did.
Yes, I did. Took over the whole room. But
the best room of the house, too.
It is a
the
nice
boys had to share a room, but you have a Star Wars room.
They do it for the wars.
They do.
And they take a certain amount of pride about it, too, when they show it off to their friends. I was always able to trust the boys because they policed it very tightly and wouldn't let those kids touch any of those toys. That's the thing about toys. You can't let kids get their grubby little hands on toys.
But
That's not what they're made for.
You did let them play with the toys, but you treated it like a library.
Yes, you can only check out a certain number.
And you couldn't get a new one until you returned that
right,
figure.
if you've reached maximum. And then there would be penalties and fines for missing accessories and what have you. But
I will say it's the neatest room of our house. Not neat, cool, but neat and tidy and organized.
And cool.
Yeah.
It's the coolest room of the house.
It's obsessively
it's obsessive.
curated.
It's obsessive.
We'll say. But now, you having this incredible career in radio for many years.
33 years this August.
Yes.
There aren't a lot of people.
And radio is, especially when Wendy started out, it was a total boys club. And you kicked down that door and you didn't let anyone hold you back. You always knew exactly how you wanted to do it, the way you wanted to do it, and you never let anyone veer you off of that focus and direction. I'm so proud of you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So in your profession, you get to talk to a lot of people, interview a lot of people. Do you remember the first time you might have spoken to someone from Star Wars? And did you sort of lean on Jimmy for a little coaching on how to approach that interview?
We had my partner Bill Leff and I were working on Q101 doing mornings, and we had Peter Mayhew.
Chewbacca.
Come on, be impressed that I know his real name. Peter Mayhew. I can't.
Jeremy Bullock.
Oh,
Yes,
it was
Jeremy Bullock. Boba Fett.
Boba Fett. Will you give me a chance?
I found the cassette of it in the basement.
No, this is
Listened
how
to
the
it last
coaching
weekend.
went, right?
Uh-huh.
It's Jeremy
No, but
Bullock, babe.
I did ask him for help, but my partner Bill is a fan of Star Wars as well, not like you. And we pitted them up against each other with Star Wars trivia questions, and Jeremy Bullock knew everything. Peter Mayhew knew nothing. He didn't even
Peter's in
attempt it.
town. I hope this doesn't get back to him.
No, I loved him.
Yeah.
He was awesome, but he's like, I don't know. And Jeremy was like, ding. I'm like, there's no buzzer. You know, he just was so anxious to answer. But that was really fun with them, and that was probably the first introduction into Star Wars people.
Yes, yeah. And you roll with the flow really well, I got to say, when it comes to all of my obsessive prattling on about it and everything. And you speak the language, too. More than you'd like to, I think, sometimes. But
How could someone help but, kind of soak some of it in?
Through
It's
osmosis.
Exactly. Now, obviously, the passion of a lot of people in this room here, everybody in this room is Star Wars. Jimmy's passion is Star Wars. Do you have a Star Wars? What is the thing? You said you love the passion. What would make you go to a thing like this?
I got to be honest with you. We were talking about this on WGN today. I don't have that Star Wars. I did with the X-Files. I loved the X-Files. I went to the X-Files convention with you.
Yes. Yeah. And
He's like, convention? I know my way around a convention. But that was it. And then, I like music, and I like gardening, and I like all the boring stuff. But I don't have another Star Wars anymore. Yeah. I was thinking about that.
Probably being Supermom is your Star Wars.
Yeah, but that's not by choice.
Oh, wait a second. I'm pretty sure it was.
Kind of stuck in that position.
I was which position?
Which I really did not know.
Well, no, I know I was in on all those meetings about becoming a parent, and I'm pretty sure you were there. I'm pretty sure you called those
I did
meetings.
not know Michael got lost at that celebration. I knew he did, but I didn't know it was such a big thing.
Did you know there was audio?
No. No, it was kind of like, oh, yeah, Michael was out of sight for a minute. That's what I heard. This is all news to me.
Out of sight for a few minutes.
How long was it? I'm just curious. Ballpark. 10 minutes, half hour?
10 minutes. 10 minutes, yeah.
I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it.
I think it was longer.
I mean, they get it over the PA and, talk to the little guy and everything.
Well, 10 minutes after I left the autograph line with my autograph.
I need a Star Wars.
You need a Star Wars.
I do.
Yeah, because the X-Files...
I know Star Wars would be the obvious choice there.
Right. But you can't manufacture that kind of passion.
You
Right?
can't.
You either
I
have
respect
it or you
it. I love it. I don't know lines and dialogue from the movies. I cannot take an action figure and put them in various scenes like you do.
It takes a special talent. It really does. It takes a special talent.
So when the boys came along, was there ever a conversation about, honey, I know you're really into the Star Wars, and I know you would probably love for the boys to be into Star Wars, but maybe not just shove it on them. Was there any?
Did I talk to Jim about this?
Yeah, was this?
No, but I tried to save our youngest one, Dylan. I'm like, go the other way, but I didn't really. I didn't interfere with that.
Yeah.
And
just let it happen naturally.
Yeah, because that's something that you had as a kid, and it meant so much to you to share that love of Star Wars with your kids.
That's what.
So why would I get in the way of that?
Yeah. It's great to pass it along. I think that's the most powerful thing about it, is passing it along to the next generation.
That is important, and it also brings you back to your childhood.
Well, it does a lot.
And
of that.
who the hell likes this adulting crap?
Yeah,
I mean, it's hard, isn't it? It would be so nice to be a kid again and just play with action figures.
Yes.
Wow.
That's why we do it.
So, before we go, any advice that you might have for any other Star Wars spouses out there? What's the...
we got a couple in the audience tonight.
Yeah.
All right,
Star
but
Wars
see, now I would
widows.
like to talk to this Star Wars widow. Are you into Star Wars?
Very supportive. She's very
Right.
supportive.
So why are you here tonight? And kudos to you for coming and supporting him.
That's right.
See? I love my husband. He's passionate about it. I want to support him. That's what it's all about. It hurts no one, man. You know?
Yeah.
There could be worse things.
Right. You think of the alternatives.
Yeah, I'm glad you're into Star Wars.
I think we're all glad. Ladies and gentlemen, the great Wendy Snyder.
Yay.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
All right.
She's awesome. She's
She really
the best.
is. She really is. Okay, we've got a real special surprise for you, ladies and gentlemen. The stars of Star Wars are not just in the Autograph Hall. They are also here at Rebel Force Radio live in Chicago. We got a great one. This guy's got an amazing story. He was there from the beginning. He's featured in the very first Star Wars, 1977's Star Wars, or as it later became, A New Hope. He was the main stormtrooper there on Tatooine and was a deleted character that has kind of grown and had this mythology all on its own. Ladies and gentlemen, Anthony Forrest.
The original Sandtrooper. Wow.
So here we are.
Here we are.
Here we are.
Now,
Rocking the
there's
house.
four of us on stage right now, but only one of us actually acted in a scene with Sir Alec Guinness. Yes, out in Tunisia. Everyone knows the scene.
Yeah.
How's it begin? Droids, what are the? Oh, you have got.
I've got the script
Okay.
up here.
So, I can be. Let's be characters. Should we act it out?
We can do that.
Do you know all the lines?
Do you still remember your lines?
Well, I didn't have to remember. I didn't have to remember
your characters' lines. Yes.
Alec Guinness was feeding me the lines. It was like.
Oh, he was.
Yeah.
All right. So okay. All right.
Yeah, he says a line, and I say the same line.
Okay.
Back
Well,
at him.
so that's what we'll do. Okay. So I'll play. Can I be Alec Guinness? I know we said I'd be Luke.
Then I have nothing to say, man.
I really want to. Can you?
I
be
know
Luke?
you do.
I always get the Luke lines.
See how good he is in them?
I don't want to do it anymore. Jeez.
All right, well,
That's a good
I don't know.
All right.
Fine.
Can I? All right.
Let's let Jason
Okay.
do it.
All right. So we'll pretend we're back on Tunisia.
Okay.
And I'm Alec Guinness, and I'm saying, how long have you had these droids?
Wait, no, that's not right. It's the trooper says that
I'm
line.
feeding him the lines, just like it happened in Tunisia in 1976.
Is this really how it happened? Is it like
some
this?
Some of the lines were fed. Yeah. Well, no, they weren't fed like that, but you know. It's,
What, he didn't do it in character?
Yeah.
No, he
and right
didn't
before
make
you
that.
were supposed to.
He fed his lines to you in character.
Yeah.
All right, feed him the lines.
All right.
Line.
all
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
How long have you had these droids?
How long have you had these droids?
Almost 3 or 4 seasons. I'm not even trying.
wow.
I'm not even trying. I wanted to be Ben. All right. Almost 3 or 4 seasons. There.
A little higher.
A little higher, just a little higher.
They're for sale if you want them. Let me see your identification.
Let me see your identification.
You don't
need to see his identification.
No!
I'm the ghost of Obi-Wan.
We don't need to see his identification. That's your line. We don't need to see his identification.
We don't need to see his identification.
You want to do it?
Who am I? No, I'm Luke.
Oh. These aren't the droids you're looking for.
These aren't the droids we're looking for.
That's legit right there. That's legit.
He can go about his business.
You can go about your business.
Move along.
Move along. Move along.
Yeah, there it is. The original Sandtrooper.
They're recreating Star Wars history.
Now, of course, he was feeding you the lines. You're supposed to repeat what he says because he's messing with your mind.
That was all part of the
We
plot.
just turned a 2-minute scene into a whole movie.
Yeah, well, it could have been. It could have been. It could have gone on for 3 or 4 more seasons.
I have to say that, the first Star Wars interview I did, it was with you.
Wow, I remember that. That was Wizard World Chicago.
World, yeah.
I want to say like 2008, 2009, maybe even before that.
I think it was 2008. It was after Celebration in Los Angeles, and then I came to Chicago.
That was the first.
That was the first real Star Wars interview I did.
Wow, real
Yeah.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
Wow, that means a lot to me.
It's all up from there, I guess, right?
Yeah, now we're here again.
Now here we are.
Yeah.
Here we are.
So at what point did you decide that, okay, so I have this credit. I did this movie. It's one of the biggest movies of all time. I should go out and start talking about it. Why did it take you so long to go out and actively engage and talk about your experience?
Why?
I'm in Los Angeles, right? And I'm driving through downtown LA, and I see this billboard, and it says Star Wars Celebration Los Angeles. And I go, hang on a second, I was in that movie.
From inside a Stormtrooper helmet.
And so I had a producer I was working with at the time, and I went back to her and I said, there's a convention coming to town, and maybe we should find out about it, see what's going on. So she did. She contacted Official Picks, and they did a background check. It was kind of like joining the FBI or something like that. And
really?
Oh yeah, they contacted Lucasfilm and they said, "Do you know this guy?" and etc. And George cleared it and said, "Yeah, you can invite him along."
Wow.
And that's how it started. Yeah.
So there was a vetting process to make sure you were who you said you were, because you were a helmeted character in one instance.
Yeah. I got lucky. There was a lot of shots where I don't wear the helmet, behind the scenes shots. Mm-hmm. And I have to say, this is one of the things for filmmakers and that one of the great contributions that Gary Kurtz gave to the original Star Wars in terms of that he was there with his camera documenting everything. And if it hadn't been for Gary, so much of what we see today in terms of the fantastic behind-the-scenes shots from the films are down to him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He actually taught a great. Today, it's one of the lessons that I've learned was from him is the fact that when you're doing a production of any kind, document it. It is so important to have all those photographs and the stories and all the behind-the-scenes notes and everything, so that people can see actually how it all came together.
Yeah.
Because people are fantastic. They love the idea of knowing all the stories, how it turned out, and what happened, and things like that.
But for a film that, while it was being produced and made, there was so much. People just didn't know what to make of it. There was no one had any idea that it was going to be such a hit. So for him to have the foresight to record all of this stuff, because at the time,
Well, he was an avid photographer, but it was part of his passion as well. He brought his passion to that side of it, and so it was it's a huge contribution just to the Star Wars community and just to the history of Star Wars.
Right.
And we of course lost Gary last year. Yeah. And were you guys able to reconnect then through the conventions and everything over the years?
Yeah, there was a couple of occasions where in Dallas we reconnected and the conventions and things and again in Los Angeles there was a screening for the Academy of Motion Picture Arts. And there were a lot of people who were the Academy Award winners were there, and actually Alan Ladd Jr. was there.
Yeah, well, actually the documentary Laddie was just released. You can see it on Amazon Prime.
Right.
And the first thing you hear when you start that movie is myself and Steve Glosson talking about Alan Ladd Jr. on Rebel Force Radio.
That's cool.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
That project has been underway for years, produced by his daughter Amanda. And so I'm so happy to see it finally see the light of day. And for those who don't know, Alan Ladd Jr. was the executive with 20th Century Fox who gave the green light to Star Wars. So everyone in this room, we kind of owe Alan Ladd Jr. a little bit of gratitude. So check out that documentary. It's on Amazon Prime. You can see it now.
Yeah. So, we can actually watch the film and see you acting with Alec Guinness, and we can kind of imagine what it was like being there. But for some of those deleted scenes that maybe not everybody has seen, is there anything you recall from that? Was there anything that while you were working on that you thought made you think that maybe this is something that wouldn't end up in the final film? Was it something that seemed really important at the time to shoot and part of the story?
Well, I try to take a philosophical view to it. The fact that as an actor, you know that not everything's going to end up in the film.
Mm-hmm.
The original screenplay is running 142 minutes or 142 pages, which is going to equate to 142 minutes. If a page is 1 minute of film, then you've got an awful long film, especially for those days, and even today it can be. So I was disappointed when I first saw it. I saw it in London at the Marble Arch. There's a cinema there where they had a screening for some of the cast and crew. And so I was disappointed at the time, but at the same time, I kind of lucked out because I also played the Sandtrooper.
Right.
So it's like, you win some, you lose some.
Right. So for people who don't know, Anthony was hired to play Luke's friend, Fixer.
Yeah.
And in the Anchorhead scenes, right? And you can see these deleted scenes now on the Blu-ray. But he's in there with some of Luke's friends. You had Cammy and Biggs!
Yeah, Biggs, yeah.
And what were you guys doing? You were shooting stick. You were playing pool in the back there of the shop?
I didn't pay too much attention to what they were doing.
Yeah.
I had Cammy on my lap.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, let's... And so I think it looked more like an air hockey game.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's hard to see.
Yeah, it's kind of more like an air hockey game, I think they were playing.
And Cammy was on your lap, and she was played by Koo Stark.
Yeah.
And didn't she have some kind of background as an adult entertainer?
Yeah. Also, she had a relationship with royalty.
Oh, I heard something about that.
Yeah.
Now,
Prince Andrew.
With Prince Andrew.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
He must have been a big fan of her movies.
I guess so, yeah.
And that's royal. That's a family jewels.
Yeah.
So what did they tell you about, if you recall, your character and in that scene and what you were trying to do with this Luke Skywalker kid?
Well, this was a lot of this stuff you have to read into yourself. George does not necessarily tell you what's going on in his head.
Mm-hmm.
He's a great visionary, and you were talking about passion before, and it's his passion that actually made Star Wars what it is today. Really, I mean that's because he was fighting for that film all along. I mean, he had to fight tooth and nail to get it from stage A to Z, and that's real dedication. Because he could sense, I mean, with the Sandtrooper costume, when they put it on me at first, he didn't wait around for people to come and adjust anything like that. He started doing it himself.
Let me get this codpiece straightened out here for you.
Well,
George, you're spending a lot of time down there. Almost got it just right.
You can get off your knees now, George. Yeah. But it was really, there was we're out of the desert, and so he was actually getting handfuls of sand and putting more of it on me. He said it's not dirty enough.
Right.
He could see. He wanted that feel. He wanted that texture for it.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things is that attention to detail was a huge part of his passion.
And to ground this fantasy in reality.
Yeah.
We can all relate to dirt and mud and sand and instead of that glossy look that sci-fi had.
So getting back to the Fixer character, I was kind of left to trying to figure it out. What was the background? Who was this guy and what he was really doing? And so I thought, well, first of all, he's the only guy in the group who's got a girlfriend for a couple of 100 miles, right? He's got the Tashi Station, which is a great gig. It's his place, his hangout, right?
Yeah.
And so he doesn't want to go anywhere. Right. He's all set.
Got a never-ending supply of power converters. I mean, who would want to leave?
Yeah.
I mean,
he can just plug in anytime he wants.
That's the life, man. That's the life.
But then with the Sandtrooper characters we talked about earlier, you got the opportunity to work with Alec Guinness.
Yeah.
And when you sign up for a gig like this, do Do you have a sense of who they tell you who the rest of the cast is? Do you know who you're having scenes with or who you're going to be acting with until?
No, that was the Sandtrooper was a complete surprise. Yeah,
they sprung that on you because you were hired to play Fixer, and then they needed someone else.
Yeah, I recently talked about this to somebody, and it was really. It was really in my mind. I kind of figured out later on that perhaps it was just the fact that we need somebody on the set said, "Well, whether it was George that we need an actor to play this," and somebody said, "Hey, we got an actor who's back at the hotel that's not doing anything. Let's go get him."
Lucky for you, they weren't doing anything.
Yeah, I was nursing a sunburn to be truthful.
And then you had to put all that armor on.
I had to put all that. It's really, and that original armor is really scratchy as hell.
Yeah,
yeah. It's not. It's
not
like the armor today.
Anthony, we can talk about what it's like to put on the armor. Yeah.
He did it once, and it wasn't in a movie. Trust me.
Right. I think there's one thing. I've not really mentioned it before, but there's one little thing. If you look at the Fixer character and you see it on the photographs of the Fixer character, I realized, and this just happened because it had occurred the day or so before, but there is a hickey on my neck.
Ooh. From Cammie?
No, I'd like to know where the German girl is from. That was staying at the hotel with her parents.
True confession.
Yeah.
On Rebel Force
Well,
Radio.
this is Chicago, isn't it? We can do this.
No, we say whatever you want. Nobody's listening. Nobody's staring at us right now and listening to every word we're saying.
Yeah.
Well, that's amazing. And so you really lucked out because the character you were hired to play ended up on the cutting room floor.
Yep.
And the one that you were pulled into emergency performance mode for ended up in one of the greatest. I mean, that's the first scene. We actually see the Force at work. And we see Obi-Wan doing the Jedi mind trick. And that's the first time, I believe.
It is, yeah.
I mean, Vader picks the guy up and chokes him, but, do you need the Force to do that? Maybe with one arm.
I think one of the things that I always remember is the fact that how in touch with that moment Alec Guinness was. And knowing that this is the first time you actually experience this, and so we really have to sense that. And so it was he was very patient with the scene, wanting to make sure that you actually had that sense of that power.
Wow.
Yeah. Because it's what you call it in film a magic moment.
Yeah.
They always say there's about 6 moments in a feature film that make it successful or not. And those are the 6 moments where the audience walks away and they are able to tell their friends about the film. And you go, it's like you go to school after the weekend, you've gone to see the movie, and then you go to see your friends at school, and then you tell your friends, oh, you got to see this film, and those are moments you can tell your friend right off the bat.
Yeah.
And those are magic moments.
Those are magic moments.
Yeah.
And you were in really the first big magic moment.
Yeah.
What do you think happened when Luke and Ben and the droids, they pulled away from those troopers? Do you think the other stormtroopers went up to you and said, what are you doing, man? What's the matter with you?
Yeah, I always say, well, if I'd stopped them, the film would have ended right there.
The man who saved Star Wars, ladies and gentlemen. Good job, man. So thank you so much, Anthony Forrest. The original Sandtrooper, Fixer from the deleted scenes from Star Wars A New Hope. Star Wars royalty. And Anthony is signing this weekend, so I don't know. Are tickets still available to get Anthony, get your autograph and photo ops? He says he thinks so. So definitely pay Anthony a visit this weekend at Star Wars Celebration.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Let's get deep. How about that? You want to get deep?
Let's get deep.
When we get deep on Rebel Force Radio, we like to get under the hood of what makes Star Wars, that gives it that primal mythology that tickles all of us in the right places. We turn to one guy, and he's here tonight, our Jedi yogi, the mythological blueprint master, John Marcoux.
Yes. John Marcoux.
I feel chilled just since you... It's amazing the effect you have, John. It's incredible. But welcome. This is the first time you've been in one of our live shows in front of the audience.
Yes. I've done three recordings.
So just be prepared for everybody to come up and say, yeah, I didn't picture you looking like that.
Yeah. Or you don't look like you sound.
I'm prepared. I'm warned.
You're warned. All right. Well, you've joined us to talk about the mythological blueprint of The Last Jedi.
Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi.
Right. In particular, that film, and as well as Solo. And that is something that a lot of listeners were surprised by because they don't think of Han as having that hero's journey. But you really corrected that.
Well, he comes across as a hard, cynical guy because he had to learn those rules to do what he does, but he was an optimist. And almost every line in that movie, he thinks things are going to work out. It's going to be fine.
But it's in such contrast to the characterization of Han Solo.
So it makes him so compelling.
Yeah, because he's almost at conflict with himself. Because he acts one way, but he says something else.
All the best heroes are, until it resolves.
Right.
So, John, as you look out on this audience here in front of us, I was wondering if you can apply and break down the mythological blueprint of RFR Live in Chicago. Yes. A gathering of Star Wars fans from all over the place.
It's a rowdy crowd. You know, there is a mythological tradition of the gathering of the tribes. And I probably would have, before coming here tonight, pegged them for a different crowd. But you remind me of the opening scene of the movie The Warriors from the 1970s, where all the gangs gather, bring the force together, and there's a charismatic guy up front. Can you dig it? Yeah. It feels like that kind of crowd.
Yeah. So we're a Warriors type crowd.
This is a hard-hitting crowd.
A bunch of New York street games with themes.
You're the Star Wars theme.
Remember? So we'll be, doing the clink on the bottles later tonight. Remember that from the Warriors?
I sure do.
Come out and play.
One of the 6 major moments of a film. The bottles from the Warriors, that's the moment.
So, John, you are best known to me as my neighbor. And I knew I had to have you come on the show when we went to see The Last Jedi.
That's when it broke.
The car ride back was more mind-blowing than anything that happened in the film, quite honestly. And that's not a knock on The Last Jedi. It was just a very compelling breakdown, and I wanted to share it with you guys. But you're also known as someone who is a fan of Star Wars, yes, but you're also a fan of the great Bruce Lee, and you've written a book about Bruce Lee.
Yes, I have.
And in your own way, I think you consider Bruce Lee to be a Jedi Knight.
No question.
So kind of tell us what the Jedi-like qualities of Bruce Lee are.
Well, has anybody here read or seen his movies?
You may have heard of Bruce Lee.
I mean, the training, he's 99% training. What you see on film is just a flicker. This guy put it in all day. So, I mean, it's in the swamps, with Yoda on his back kind of stuff,
That's training.
He did this all day, every day for his life. And then he started shining it up so it looked better on film. He actually had to slow down because the film couldn't pick up his moves.
Man, that's amazing. And so you, of course, have written this book called Poised to Pummel.
Yes. I did a small run of them. I sold almost all of them. I was keeping a couple boxes for a special occasion. You asked me when I was coming here tonight, did I have anything to pitch? And I always say, no. I just can't wait to be on the show until the next time. But this time I thought, you know what? I'll break out one of these boxes if the crew wanted to partake. Let's do it.
So we have some books for sale. I guess all you have to do is come see John. And you have something to give away, too, don't you?
I've got treats.
He's got treats. So
first of all, here's the Bruce Lee book. The back cover is probably better than the front. It shows the pile of dudes he's kicked ass on. You come over and check it out.
So Poised to Pummel, right there.
That's a Jason-sized book. I like that. I could probably...
Don't hurt yourself.
I could burn through this and, like a night here. Oh, wow.
There's all sort of great
I love
animation
the
there.
Yeah.
So the reason that drive home from The Last Jedi happened, and I was so excited about it, and I was gushing about the mythology, is because I had been studying that very mythology myself.
Yes.
And the follow-up book to the Bruce Lee book was about a guy named Bob Marley, who...
Get up, stand up.
I agree. And after doing the Bruce Lee book, I spent a lot of time trying to figure out how do you tell a story better. I had 1 million Bob Marley stories, and then I realized, no, don't tell all the stories. Tell the best story. So I went out and hunted in the mythological field. What was the closest story out there that Bob Marley lived? And then I'll just follow those beats. And it turned out, beat for beat for beat, Bob Marley's real life coincides with Luke Skywalker, first movie, 77.
The Hero's Journey.
Hero's Journey.
For the Jedi and the Rastafarians.
So I studied how they sent Luke through that, and I hit the beats with Marley, and the book went through the roof. So that book's not out yet, but this is an early draft of it. And just like Luke, he was in the middle of nowhere and was trying to get out and couldn't get out. He met an old man who taught him about the Force. They called it the Earth Force because Rastafarians are very, in the dirt. But it's the same exact thing. And then yada, yada, yada. At the end of the movie, Marley knows he's only got one shot left. He's about to die. And he goes into the recording studio for the only time in his life and told the reggae band to sit down. And he turned the computers off. And he went in with an acoustic guitar. And the last song he ever recorded was Redemption Song. And that was him putting together that last shot. And the name of the book is called Emancipate Yourself, because that was his life's message. Just like Jedis need to emancipate themselves mentally, so do all of us.
Amazing. Wow.
So throughout the graphic novel, I have various scenes where Bob Marley's in the exact same situation that Luke is. And so to describe it visually, I have art in the book. So here is, for instance, these are postcards of Marley in a trash compactor. I just printed this. I haven't even perforated. These are 4 postcards. But instead of getting pressed in by other things, it's being pressed in by, alienation, racial discrimination, poverty. And the quote here is, "No chains around my feet, but I'm not free." Same as Luke.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And then 2 more. Here's him vibrating his force. He called them Rastaman vibrations over the earth. And then he is considered a Jedi spirit along with other great emancipators.
This is
Lincoln.
Cool. What do we got? So we have Bob Marley in Jedi robes. And that's not a lightsaber on the...
that's a microphone hanging off his belt.
Yeah, man.
And then he's got Gandhi, Buddha, and Abraham Lincoln next to him.
Wow.
All Jedi.
That's a dinner party.
So I printed up a couple hundred or more of these. I'm going to break them up over here. Anybody wants to come over and grab them? And if you want to buy a Bruce Lee book, please.
Cool. So thank you, John. Best of luck with the book.
Sure. Jedi Yogi.
Best. John Marcoux. Now that's a good neighbor right there. That's a good neighbor. So go see John. He'll give you some of those postcards and shake his hand because he's a really great guy.
We were talking about all of the folks that have been, or so many of the folks that are here tonight have been with us from the beginning. We mentioned Glenn, for example, and but another byproduct of that is watching these folks' kids grow up over the years. There's literally like a generation of celebration kids. One I'm thinking of is our good buddy Sheldon Norton is right here.
There's Sheldon right there.
You see the reflection off the back of his head right there.
Have you guys seen When the Galaxy Listens, the great documentary Sheldon put together? Well, I got good news for you. We have the director's cut, and that's ready to launch. That's going to be coming real soon. And it's got all kind of great stuff with Dave Filoni, stuff we did at Skywalker Ranch, and you're all going to be able to see it really, really soon. Yeah. So I'm pretty excited about that. Yeah. It's all because of this guy right there, Sheldon.
Well, we've watched Sheldon's son, Chase, grow up in front of our eyes. He's not here tonight, but he's going to be here at Celebration. We've got, our good friend Shaz Bazaar. I don't know if Shaz is still here. We've watched the Shazlings grow up. Jedi Schwa and his family. We watched them grow up. And it's just incredible because it's become this, it's like a family. It really is like a family. And Jim discovered the Forcecast when he was becoming a dad. Right? Or no, I'm wrong. Wait a minute. No, I'm sorry.
I was running away from a lot of problems. So I found Jason, and
you were going to the hospital. I thought it was these commutes to the hospital.
When he had knee surgery.
Okay, knee surgery, child. I mean,
Wendy was
it's a lot of pain.
Wendy wasn't. She was on afternoon drive radio at the time, so I had nothing to listen to on my commute home. So I punched up this guy and Pete Nadel talking the wars. Next thing you know, but a week had gone by, I listened to everything they did and said, I want to be a part of this thing. And so reached out to Dustin Roberts, and he was the content manager, and he put me in a position where I could help these guys produce a show. And I think Jason and Pete were a little standoffish about that because they had established a really cool thing. After a few months, they were really getting their feet on the ground and building this thing, and then all of a sudden... the cocky Chicago radio guy is...
That's what we called you,
yeah,
too.
I know you did. I should have done the quotes, you know? So it wasn't exactly an easy process at first, but I think the thing we discovered right away was we were able to work together really well. And then we got together for Star Wars Celebration 4 in Los Angeles in 2007. And that's when the fireworks happened. Billy Mack was there, and Jason and Pete, and we just had a great time.
And that's when we started meeting all of these folks. And and then came the fan days.
Yes.
And more celebrations. And then branched off and did some independent Rebel Force Radio meetups and events and things like that. And you guys have been with us for such a long time, and it's incredible. We really, really thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. You guys are amazing. It's amazing. What a great audience.
And we've also watched your boys grow up, including your son, Michael.
Michael Mack. Why don't you come up here? Michael Mcinerney, ladies and gentlemen.
Come on up.
So Michael is a blues musician here in the city of Chicago, and I know we have a lot of people here from out of town. And I'm sure you've all had your pizza by now, right? If you're from out of town. But something that you really need to consume when you're in Chicago is the music. And blues music is a huge part of what makes this city work. And a lot of great blues musicians have come out of Chicago, guys like Buddy Guy, Lonnie Brooks. So many.
So many.
All right, those two. But I think we have some rising talent here right in front of us. 19 years old, Michael Mcinerney has been playing out in blues clubs, blues fests, blues bars since he was about 13 years old. And
don't ask how I got in.
So Michael's going to give you a little taste of Chicago blues here tonight. And so without further ado, let's turn this place into a blues bar. Let's get bluesy here in Reggie's. What's this all about? What's going on down here? We got Chris Mocht here on the tambourine, ladies and gentlemen. So percussion from Chris Mocht, guitar, vocal, and harmonica from Michael Mcinerney.
and she mean. There ought to be some kind of law. Keep my baby off the street. Let me hear that piano. Upstairs, I'm gonna take down all my clothes. I'm gonna go upstairs. I'm gonna take down all my clothes. I believe my time ain't long, and you know I've gotta go. One more.
Michael McInerney, Glenn Nelson, Chris Mock.
Thank you for having me up here, guys.
Oh, Michael, I love you, man. I love you, man. So that was a song by Elmore James called Dust My Broom.
Yes.
And these guys had never played before. They never had rehearsal or anything. I think it sounded pretty damn good.
I did too.
I think it sounded pretty damn good. Whoops. You want to be careful about that next time, though.
Yeah. I'm a professional, I swear.
But thank you so much, Michael. And you have a very busy weekend this weekend. You want to tell people where they can see you if they're not at the convention center?
Yes. So if you love the suburbs of Chicago, boy, have I got a weekend for you. On Saturday at 1 p.m., I'm going to be playing with my band, The Vaughn Building, at a little record store in Westmont called Blue Village Vinyl. If you want to look that up, it's Record Store Day, but you guys have a pretty busy weekend yourselves. And then I'm going to be playing something a little more local in Countryside, Hodgkins. It's at a little pizza place called Salerno's. It's a charity gig, and I'll be on there at 5 p.m., and I'll be playing songs from the 60s.
All right. So check out Michael McInerney if you're out in the suburbs this weekend. Thank you so much, Michael.
Thanks for having me.
I'm glad I found you at that convention, because if I didn't, we wouldn't...
I got a quick little story about that convention that I'd like to share with everyone.
All right, here it comes.
Don't
a Michael
worry.
Mack celebration flashback.
I didn't just get lost. Other stuff happened, like... well...
Your mother can't take anymore. Come on.
No, don't worry. It's all good. I was the talk of the kindergarten playground by telling everybody that I met R2-D2 in the bathroom.
Kenny Baker.
So I was waiting for a stall before I got lost. And I'm like, oh, man, let's get it moving. I really got to go. And out steps this man from the bathroom. And I recognize him. I'm like, you're R2-D2. And he says, here you go, buddy. I proceeded to use the bathroom, and it was a glorious moment that I will tell my kids about for the rest
There we go. Stories from the Sandcrawler with Michael Mack.
This is why I'm not on the show.
So he's doing a record store day, and he's doing a pizzeria, and then he's doing Zany's Comedy Club, apparently.
I got no respect.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Michael Mack. Chicago Blues. Thank you, Michael. Wow, that was pretty good.
Yeah, not many people can say that they used R2-D2's toilet, but Michael Mack followed that up very well. All right, we're going to switch gears a little bit here and bring on another good friend of us here at Rebel Force Radio. We've also known him for a very long time. And as a matter of fact, we first met this gentleman through Mr. Forrest, if I remember correctly. But ladies and gentlemen, yes, Mr. Kevin Lyle.
Star Wars artist Kevin Lyle.
Why do I have to stand? Everybody else gets to sit.
All right, well, go ahead.
You want to sit down?
Go ahead, sit.
He's a guest on the show.
Ball buster.
I'm 6.5 feet. I can't do.
All right.
I won't be able to see Jason if I'm standing up there.
So you guys know Kevin. He's been on the show a lot of times. He is a great Star Wars artist. And he is on the convention floor this weekend at the Norse Legion booth. It's right over by the tattoo.
Right next door.
I was going to say tattoo parlor, but they call it
Pavilion.
Tattoo Pavilion. And
are they doing tattoos in there, or is it just a place you go show off your tattoos?
They've got like 15 artists, yeah. They're constantly doing them the entire time.
I have a Star Wars tattoo. It's the Wolfpack. You guys ever see that?
Ooh.
We did that live on the air back at, what celebration was that?
That was at Star Wars Celebration 6, yes.
Yeah, 6.
In Orlando. And if you look, he's kind of like a cynical wolf. Because he's kind of like, he's kind of like,
Yeah.
It's because I got my tattoo while we were doing the show, and it was done by a great tattoo artist, a guy named Mark Draven, who actually runs the Tattoo Pavilion. And he said I was being too squirmy. And then I think I got lectured about what kind of idiot does a podcast while he's getting a tattoo. I'm guilty as charged. So I think I'm going to get it touched up over the weekend a little bit.
Are you
maybe
really?
A little shading, and you can see there's kind of some faded spots there, and just that little smart.
Well, there are a lot more wrinkles in it than there were when you first got it. You know,
Happens to us all.
I'm going to ignore that comment until we get back to the hotel.
Ooh.
So, Kevin, there's a note here in your bio, and it is so true. You're like the anti-Bob Uecker, because you're not in the nosebleeds. You are the guy that's always in the front row of everything. It seems like when something...
That is not true.
No, I think it is true. When something is happening, exciting in the world of Star Wars, we just go on to Kevin Lyle's Facebook page, and there is a sneaky photo that you have somehow taken underneath the table, and people have no idea that you're photographing them, and we can find out what's going on. It's incredible.
I do a lot of panel hosts out there in Eastern Connecticut, or the East Coast.
Yeah.
Glenn goes to a lot of shows with me, and I do it a lot. I'll tell a quick funny story. I did it one time at Celebration last year when I was backstage when they had the 20th anniversary panel, and there was this buffet of food, and Harrison Ford went up, and there was like one of those wrap sandwiches, like 2 parts. So he went up and grabbed this one, and then I immediately ran up and grabbed that one.
Yeah.
So you put it in a Ziploc baggie and saved it, and it's on eBay?
No, I ate it. I felt like I needed to consume it, and I took a picture of him eating his, just because doing exactly what you just said.
It's like splitting a sandwich with Harrison Ford. Now, if Harrison Ford...
I did split a sandwich with Harrison Ford.
Well,
it wasn't like splitting a sandwich with Harrison Ford. He had one half, and I had one half.
And if Harrison had heard this story, he'd be like, that's the creepiest thing I ever heard.
Where's my lawyer? You know?
Who let this guy in?
Well, you've had, and here's the thing, though. It's not like you've just, fell ass backwards into these situations. You're a very hardworking guy. You're a serial entrepreneur, and you make it happen.
You're a hustler.
So we kid you a lot.
I am a hustler.
But you make it happen. And one of the things that you did, which was fantastic for a lot of fans, is you kind of looked around and you're like, why is Wedge never doing Star Wars conventions? Why can't we get Wedge out here?
Yeah.
Because you're obviously a fan in addition to somebody who does business, real business in the world of Star Wars. So what was it that gave you the idea, other than the fact that the guy just hadn't been in there, that you could be the one to finally bring Wedge to a Star Wars celebration?
God, I wish I had a good answer for that. That was just, he had never done one. I wanted to meet him, and I just figured if I called every agent in London, I would find him, and that's how I did.
And that's what you did. That's awesome.
It took like 6 months of calling agents and saying, "Do you represent Dennis Lawson? We'd like to use him for something." And finally, one said, "Yeah. What do you got?" And then.
And were you like, "Really? You're serious?"
No, I wasn't that, because I realized I'd eventually get it.
Uh-huh.
And there was a Star Wars actor who Anthony knows who kind of helped me point to the direction of which agent that might be.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to give any hints, but it was Biggs. It was
Biggs.
He helped out a lot. And just a quick story. He asked me to do a bunch of patches for him, and he's like, "What it cost?" And I'm like, "Nothing."
No.
I got you, man. Don't worry about it.
You're all good. You helped me get Wedge. And so the proposal was made, and was this something where he's like, yeah, no one had ever asked me before, or was he reluctant to do it at first?
No, he was right off the bat. He was like, "Really? They want me to come?" And I'm like, yes, they want you to come. And he was cool with it, and he was really he was a little shy, and he didn't want to do the panels because he felt that they'd ask questions he didn't know, and he wouldn't remember things, and he thought that none of you guys would really care. And then after like 2 or 3 days of the panel, because his panel, who went to Celebration last time here in the U.S.? Okay, so they had a Rebels panel, I believe, a Rebel pilot panel. I believe it was at the end of the convention, right? Was it the last day or the second to last day? It was the Sunday, right? Anyway, it was. So by those 3 or 4 days of people coming to his booth and showing such emotion and gratitude to him, he decided to do it. So he actually joined it like the last couple hours before it.
Yeah.
So he kind of opened up about it.
And there were others you had to convince too. I mean, the people that were running the autographs, they were like, "Is this somebody that the fans really want to see?"
Damn, I don't bring that one up. But,
I mean, it's not like that. It's not a household name. The character's not a household name.
The first person. Okay, I'll just say it. Since we're all friends here, and we're not going to go online and talk about it. I got Dennis and made him a guarantee that I just made up. Mm-hmm. And I called Tops up and go, "Guess what? I got Dennis Lawson." And they're like, "So what?" And it's okay I can say this because the person doesn't work at Tops anymore. Uh-huh. And then I said, "Well, I got Dennis Lawson, and he wants X, Y, and Z." And he's like, "All right. Well, no." And then he called me 3 days later. And the guy's like, "Do you still have Dennis Lawson?" And I'm like, "There's a little too much emotion in your voice." So I knew that he spoke to someone with the knowledge like that you two guys would have, or Glenn or anybody in the room. And they're all like, "What are you talking about?"
And found out who he was.
Get him.
Likely, yeah. Right.
You know, and so they just agreed to bring him in. And he had a great time. And he's a huge Black Sabbath fan. That's how cool Dennis Lawson is. He likes Black Sabbath.
I just like to think of all of the autograph collectors out there that you made their dreams come true, or all of the Star Wars film posters that you helped complete collections for, because that was a tough one to get.
And it was for me, too. I didn't have a Dennis Lawson autograph. And actually, at the end, they were really happy because he had the highest pre-sales of any actor at the last celebration, except for Mark Hamill. And then at the end of the convention, I said, he wants to keep his banner, the banner behind him. Mm-hmm. And they said, "Well, we keep those and we raffle them." I'm like, "He wants to keep the banner behind him." And they're like, "Okay, he can have it." And then I went back to Dennis. I'm like, "Dennis, do you want this banner behind you?" He's like, "No." It's in the Norse Legion warehouse right now, and it's signed by him.
Well played. And what's going on at the Norse Legion booth this week?
We have, of course, jewelry and pins and patches that we design, and it's going really well. Today was actually the highest day I've ever had at any convention, including a celebration. It was really good.
Congratulations.
Wow. I didn't tell you this because we were talking before the show, but I talked to my sales manager who's here in the back, and we decided that anybody who comes to my booth tomorrow and says Rebel Force Radio or I attended the Rebel Force Radio party will get 20% off what they do.
20%.
I'm going to do that. And you guys have some merchandise here tonight?
Yeah, we have our Chicago Bulls Mandalorian patch.
Did you guys see these? Chicago Bulls?
Which we'll just give out, just to anybody who wants one.
Oh, this is fun.
I'm just, you know what I'm doing? I'm trying to hit Tullis. I'm trying to hit Tullis. I almost got him. Look, there he is. Not all of them. We got to give some to the trivia.
Oh.
I'll get more. It's okay.
All right.
Did I get Tullis?
Oh, you got him. Good shot, man.
So you host a lot of panels. You're interviewing various celebrities on stages at conventions all over, and you also are known as sort of the trivia guy. You do these incredible trivia contests at various conventions. You've done them at celebrations before.
We did 3, I think, right?
Yeah.
Three. And Glenn was my music host.
He's a good one. He's a good one for that. And so we thought that we might do a little Star Wars trivia tonight.
Yeah.
Brother versus brother.
It's going to be Team Jason against Team Jimmy. But there's more. And what we're going to do is we're going to have 18 people from the audience who will win something, but they have to pick either Team Jason or Team Jimmy. And Millennial Chris, was it Cleveland Chris or Millennial Chris? What is it? Millennial Chris. That sounds funnier. So, because who doesn't love millennials? I'm just kidding. I love everybody. So we decided. I was talking with Jace with Jimmy last week. Remember we were talking like, well, how are we going to do this? What are we going to do? And I'm like, well, why don't we just put Steak and Shake hats on their head? And I didn't think he'd say yes. And he's like, yeah, that's fine. So I went to Steak and Shake this week on my drive from Connecticut to here, and we got he's in the house now. Okay, never mind. So what we're going to do, Steak and Shakes with the Rebel Force Radio party sticker on them. And anybody who wants to participate, you will pick either Team Jason or Team Jimmy, and you'll go to Millennial Chris. Come on, that's funny. You'll go to Millennial Chris, and he will give you a hat. And if your person wins, whether it's Jason or Jimmy, you get to have, what are we giving? We're giving a T-shirt and a patch to the winning team, and the losers get nothing.
All right. So
nothing.
Let's get these distributed, because we got a trivia contest to do.
We're going to distribute these out. You got to tell this guy, Cleveland Chris, whether you want Jason or Jimmy.
Hey, Chris, try to spread it out around the room a little bit.
Yeah, let's not just get one table. That's a good idea.
And try to do it in about 10 seconds.
All right. Now, can we establish some ground rules first of all?
Okay.
Can you make all of the questions about real Star Wars, not the books and the comics and all the crap?
Or The Last Jedi.
I am comfortable with any Star Wars question. You can ask anything you want. But Jason is a little more film canon centric. So
I did go over some questions this week, and I don't think many are from the books.
All right. So Chris is distributing the Steak and Shake hats, and of course
I'm seeing 3 hats on and 5 hats on. We got to get them on the heads, because we just think it looks funny. I can't believe they're doing it.
We had a great meal at Steak and Shake once, the 3 of us. Remember that?
Oh, yeah. At the last celebration. In Celebration Orlando, we went there with your Charger, with your rented Charger, and you let me drive. And it's a Charger, so it's really fast. And then Jimmy's like, get out. You ain't driving no more. Because look, there's nothing faster that you can drive than a sports car that's rented by somebody else.
Okay, looks like the hats have been distributed. Everyone raise their hand if they are Team Jason.
There we go.
And all you future winners, raise your hand if you are Team Jimmy Man. Yes. You're my people. You're my people. You're my peeps.
We did do a little dry run of this last night, and I did win, just so you know.
That is true. We did a dry run. I asked 2 questions. You got both right. And
yes.
Jimmy did not.
Correct.
Surprisingly. But he didn't answer the first one.
What do you mean surprisingly? What does that mean?
No, but you beat him 2-0.
Right.
That was surprising. 1-on-1 would have been...
Because I know he's going to kick my ass tonight, so I just had to throw that out there as a way to keep some credibility. I just know it.
Your confidence is your weakness.
Real quick, number from 1 to 10, number from 1 to 10. Starting with you.
5.
9.
It was 7, right in the fucking middle.
What?
I am so sorry.
I don't care.
I'd like to thank you for my last time on Rebel Force Radio. All right, now I'm going to do it. Okay, pick a number between 1 and 30.
17.
27.
21. You win. Okay, so the first question goes to Jimmy Mack.
All right, this is for you guys. Wish me luck.
How many limbs does Dexter Jettster have?
Dexter Jettster. How many limbs? See, that's a tricky one. I'm going to say 6. 6 limbs.
And the answer is 6. You are correct. The next question is for Jason. Who tells Qui-Gon, you Jedi are far too reckless?
Padme.
That is correct. That's 1-1.
These are easy questions so far.
Where is Jimmy mocked? Chris mocked. We need someone to take score. I forgot about that.
Oh, here.
No, I want mocked.
Oh, you're not. No, you're not keeping.
You're not keeping score. Mocked is a documentarian.
It's not.
You got a pen or a phone to write it in? I want you to keep score.
All right.
Okay. Why does he? Are you wearing a hat?
How did that happen?
Tullis is the judge. Tullis is the judge.
All right, let's continue.
The next question is for Jimmy. What class vehicle did Luke Bullseye want raps in? What class of vehicle did Luke Bullseye Womp Rats in?
Well, you guys shouldn't. I mean, really, don't yell out the answers.
And Jimmy did say last night, he's like, make sure you ask the audience not to. And I said, no, they're not that stupid. I don't have to do that. Well, apparently they are. You can't, oh, just one person. Come on, it's one person I said it to, not all of you. I love all of you. I was the one who said you wouldn't do it, so please, no, don't call out the answers. You
used to say, I used to bullseye womp rats in my T16 bag.
I'm going to have to ask you another question.
Okay.
That's okay. Okay. According to Obi-Wan, a lightsaber is not as clumsy or blank as a blaster.
Random.
Very good. Okay.
As clumsy or random as a blaster. These are easy, right?
Jason.
They've been easy so far, yeah.
Jason.
Yeah.
What is the name of the first ship we see in A New Hope?
The name.
The name. And not from the audience, but
ship
from Jason.
Name.
What is the name?
There's a couple of different pronunciations, but I like to call it the Tantive 4.
What do you say, Tantive? I say Tantive.
Well, some people call it
Tantive.
Tantive.
Which I would have given you.
All right. Thank you.
Next question is for... So we're 2-2, right, Tullis?
Not the Sundered Heart. No. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
It's a long time ago.
The next question is for Jason. Jimmy, excuse me. The next question is for Jimmy. Who is taller, Yoda or Salacious Crumb? Who is taller? So the answer is the taller of the two. Yoda! What did I just tell you? What did I just say? That's your friend, too. The guy we were with that was the guy we were with last night.
Amram.
You were all, like, nice and friendly and...
Yoda. Yoda is taller than Salacious Crumb.
Well, what should I do? He screened out the answer. Should I give it to you?
Ask me another one.
Because the answer is actually Salacious Crumb.
Hey, man, if you're going to yell make sure it's the right okay?
Did you just say the S word? Just so I'm not the only one who did it?
I didn't want you to be the only one.
Thank you, buddy.
Okay.
While running on Jakku, this is going to be again for you. Shut up. While running on Jakku, what word does Rey use to describe the Falcon in The Force Awakens? What word does Rey use to describe the Falcon?
Word?
While running on Jakku. What word does she use to describe the Falcon?
A sequel question. Now, this does... She says... She calls it... She says it's...
Hold on. What are you giving...
No, stop. I'm thinking.
No, but Glenn Nelson's talking to me. What? We can go out next week when we get back. We'll go back. We'll get you...
I might get this wrong. She calls it garbage?
She calls it garbage.
Yes, she does call it garbage. Yeah.
Apparently, this game of two has now included Glenn Nelson. Silence, Glenn. And for those of you who don't know, Glenn's like my neighbor. He lives like half an hour from me.
All right, let's do some really tough, like three more.
Wait a minute now. Wait a minute.
Really tough ones. After this one.
After this one.
Yeah, let's turn up the heat a little.
You want really tough ones?
Well, in a minute or two.
No problem, guys.
Give
I'll
him
get
a
you one.
softball, though, on par with the garbage question.
You missed Salacious Crumb.
I didn't miss anything. That was
This one's a multiple
disqualified.
choice.
Oh, okay.
But it's hard. Jason?
C.
What
No.
It's multiple choice. Well, never mind. What species is Max Rebo? Is he an Ortolan or a Miradorn? What species is Max Rebo? Ortolan or Miradorn?
Max Rebo. Species.
We just called him Blue Elephant Guy.
Want me to say the names again?
No, yeah, give it to me again.
Which means you have no clue what the answer is. Because those two words don't sound anything alike.
I really don't. This is a 50-50 shot.
Ortolan or Miradorn?
I'm going to go with Miradorn. Oh, God.
The answer obviously is
what
Ortolan.
almanac was this
now,
in?
I'll give a patch if anybody can tell me where a Miradorn is from. It's not from Star Wars. It's from something else.
Is it
I hate that guy.
Galaxy Quest?
It's from Star Trek. Who said
It
Star
is from
Trek?
Star Trek.
It's an episode of Deep Space Nine.
All right,
the
come
Miradorn.
over here and get the patch.
Get over here.
He's not going to throw it.
No, I'm not going to. I've already.
All right, now
I've
here
already
come the
worked it
real hardball. We're going to do...
Oh, that wasn't hard, huh?
That was
We're gonna
easy.
max
And you had a 50-50 shot, no matter what you did, and you
Okay.
answered, you missed it.
Tell us how you doing on the 3-3 tie. Who's got 2? Jason has 2. Jimmy has 3. Okay.
Is Salacious Crumb really taller than Yoda? That doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem...
Yeah, because I'm just making this stuff. First of all, I personally know Salacious Crumb. I brought him on your show last time, for crying out loud.
He personally knows Salacious Crumb. I know Swank. He knows Crumb.
What species is Sni... This is for Jimmy. What species is Snoodle? Is she Chandrillan or Poloic? What species is Snoodle?
B.
Did you know that?
Yes. I just can't really say it correctly.
Okay, the answer is Poloic. Do you know who is Chandrillan? Who can tell me who's Chandrillan? Very good. Who said it first?
Okay. Chandrillan.
Just take a total guess.
All right, that's a tough one. Okay, that's a tough one.
We forgot. How do we stop this? Do I just go all night till the show starts tomorrow morning at Celebration?
Best out of 7.
Best out of 7?
Best out of 7.
Best out of 7.
Best out of 7.
Tell us, how many questions have they asked?
I think we're on our 4th round.
7 and 7.
So this is round 4 of 7. Okay, all right.
Yeah. So 7 rounds.
And Jason's up.
Jason, your question is, and these are all at random in the same line, because it's hard. What actor plays Owen Lars in Revenge of the Sith? What actor plays Owen Lars in Revenge of the Sith? That's not too hard, I guess, right?
Oh, hold on a second.
Do we have a time limit on this?
Hold on. Don't rush me. I got to think. I haven't thought about this guy in a long time. Kind of looks like James Corden a little bit, like a thinner version.
A little bit, yeah. I've never thought of that.
Yeah. And it's not James Corden. I know that.
Come on, Jay. You should know this one.
Oh, come on.
Do you know the answer?
Yeah, he's an actor who has a career outside of Star Wars, actually.
You're dropping hints to him.
He has a brother who also worked on the prequel.
And he was in that MMA movie, yeah. Well, you're giving him clues. I can give him clues. I can do what I want.
Should I answer?
No.
Yeah. All right,
I have his action figure. I don't remember
Time
his
is
name.
up.
I don't remember his
Joel Edgerton.
Joel Edgerton is the name.
All right.
Young Owen. Not
Young
as grizzled. Ungrizzled Owen.
The next question is for Jimmy. Where were Luke and Leia born? The funny thing is, my notes here, I actually have the wrong answer, but I know the right one anyway, because I'm Kevin Lyle, so I know what I'm doing. Right? I actually have the wrong answer. It's funny. I'm looking down on it. I'm like, that is so weird.
Polis Massa.
Polis Massa. That's close enough.
Massa.
We got one question each. 5 to 3. 5-2. This is not like last night, man. This is totally different.
We were drinking last night. I hope you guys are hitting up the bar a lot, keeping every bartender's busy. Yes, libations.
I forgot what you said. This is just a coincidence, Jason. You said do or do not ask a quotation question.
Ask a what?
A quotation question. You're going to get one anyway. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. All right.
You're good?
All right.
Okay,
Yeah,
so what is the first line spoken by Darth Maul in The Phantom Menace? What is the first line spoken by Darth Maul in The Phantom Menace? One of you says it, I'm just going to jump out. I'm a stage dive.
It's not the one you're thinking.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Hold on a second. Hold on.
It is.
I'm thinking of two different lines. I just have to remember which was said first.
He had three.
He had 2 lines.
He had 3. He has 3 lines.
Thank you.
Priceless.
At last we will reveal ourselves to the Jedi. At last we will have revenge.
Is that your answer?
Yes.
No.
Oh, it's about the communications. We'll find them quickly, Master.
No, it's Tatooine is sparsely populated.
All right.
Tatooine is sparsely populated.
I'll retire. Who wants the gig? I mean,
just for fun, I want you guys to stay on your toes, okay? I'll be whipping these patches out there.
All right, let's get this over with. Okay,
come on.
Come on.
How many more now? It's 5-2. 5-2.
Mm-hmm.
In the classic trilogy, how many characters? This question is for Jimmy. In the classic trilogy, how many characters ignite a lightsaber? In the classic trilogy, meaning A New Hope, Jedi, Empire. Oh, there's 2 Jedi. How does that work? Did we still say Jedi and mean Return of the Jedi?
Han.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can say Jedi. Yeah.
But we don't mean Last Jedi.
We never mean Last Jedi.
I've
You
already
can't say
won.
Last Jedi in my house. Yeah.
I would just like to point out I've already won this little.
Not
contest.
necessarily.
It's
Oh,
over.
yeah.
Yes, I did.
This is just to.
So I don't have to answer, but I'm going to say
You will.
4
The answer is 4
characters.
That's a really easy
To
one.
seal the deal.
It's a real easy
That
one.
seals the deal.
What are we at, Telus?
Victory!
6-2. Have we asked 7 questions apiece? So we got one more.
That's a best of 7, but I've already
No, but there's
won.
no way to win.
Jason, well, but you know what? You can have pride and try the best you can.
All right. Oh, okay. All right.
Which Jedi Master discovers Ahsoka Tano? Which Jedi Master discovers Ahsoka Tano?
Plo Koon.
Plo Koon
There
is
we
correct.
go. Yes. Jason is back. He was down and out for a while. We thought we lost him. But he's back. Are we done?
No, it's one more question for you, and then we're done, right?
All right.
We said best of 7. He's already got 6 victories. We've already. All right, fine. Where was the Falcon docked in Mos Eisley? I need the full title. Where was the Falcon docked at Mos Eisley? It's said in the movies. I'm not trying to get some, down Quacken Street or whatever.
Docking Bay 94.
Docking Bay 94 is correct.
So easy.
So you're saying one each more, Tullis?
Softball questions, Jimmy's head.
Just Jason, and then we're done.
All right.
Okay.
There's some hard.
It's a multiple choice one, so how about that?
Okay,
There you
I
go.
like that. I like
Who was the creature maker for the classic trilogy? Was it Dennis Muren or Phil Tippett? Who was the creature maker for the classic trilogy? Was it Dennis Muren or Phil Tippett?
It's Phil Tippett.
Phil Tippett is correct. So the winner, obviously, tell us who we got.
So
7-4, not a blowout, not bad.
Wait, I didn't. How did I get? I thought we only did 7 rounds. I got them all right. Even that Yoda Salacious Crumb, that was a technicality, though.
Okay.
Thanks, Chris.
Now, for those of you who won, if you have a look on your hat, if you have a JM for Jimmy Mack, you can go down to the booth tomorrow at 5132 and pick up a free T-shirt and patch of your choice.
Oh, cool.
From Norse Legion.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Kevin is the best.
Whoa. Just to be nice, because I love Jason so much, because he's such a nice guy, that if you do have a hat that says Jason Swank, you can come down to the booth and get a free patch of your choice.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kevin Lyle.
Yes. A Star Wars Celebration Miracle with Kevin Lyle.
All right. Okay.
That was fun.
So
I won. Swank lost. Jason needs to read more books. That's all I got to say.
Right.
Everyone knows.
Right. That'll really help me with the Darth Maul line question, right?
It
Those
might.
Crappy books.
It might.
All right. In a lot of ways, we're going to kind of wrap up here tonight where we started way back at Celebration 4. One of the first cool official things that I got to do, and this was actually even before Jim joined the show, was to host a panel featuring two independent filmmakers that were creating this incredible documentary. Wendy mentioned earlier passion. I don't really know anybody with more passion about what he does than our next guest. Ladies and gentlemen, our dear friend, Chris Mocked, and I believe back on Rebel Force Radio after a long absence, his sister, Courtney Mocked.
It's Courtney here? It's Courtney here? No, Courtney's not here.
What?
Courtney is not here.
Sit down, Chris. We've seen you before. No, Chris Mocked.
Courtney's not here, so the show's canceled.
All right, well, we'll struggle through this with just you, Chris.
You struggle through. Yes.
All right.
So,
well, Chris, it's good to have you. Like I said, that was, when you asked Pete Nadel and myself to host your panel at Star Wars Celebration, that was such a thrill. We had never done anything with any official capacity. The show hadn't been out for that long, so thank you for that opportunity. It really did kind of kickstart a lot of other things for us.
well, that was really where our relationship was born,
Yeah.
I know you contacted me. You said, hey, you're a Chicago guy. Why don't, can you interview me? And I was like, we've already wrapped on the film, but I want you guys to be part of something,
Yeah.
And I want to thank you guys for the opportunity for so many years. And a lot of you guys that have watched my films, and if you haven't, if you have Amazon Prime, you can watch them for free. If you can watch them for free now, I'm not a shrewd businessman anymore, So, not selling DVDs for $20 anymore. But
I'm sure you have some in your backpack just in case anyone wants.
I do, and I feel like doing a trivia contest, Like
we had a guy come up to Jimmy Mack and myself with his Force Among Us DVD.
Oh, you guys are here!
You got
my God!
signed.
Well, do you have the disc?
Is it
well,
already
bring
signed?
it over here.
Has anybody not seen The Force Among Us? I do want to see I want to see a sea of hands out there.
Who hasn't?
Who hasn't?
Yeah.
Okay, you guys got Amazon? Hey, how you doing, man?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Keith. We met him today at the convention center.
Keith came up to us and he asked us to sign, because we have a credit on the back, and asked us to sign the jacket, and he said, can you get us...
You guys signed it before I did.
Well, he found us first. It was a total coincidence, and then...
I didn't want to. I was texting you.
Yeah.
So Keith and Olivia, they
and you
ran
know
into
what?
them at the convention center, and they really wanted, they're like, we're
don't tell me it's a
thousands of
bootleg,
miles
Chris,
for Chris Mock's autograph.
No, but the funny thing is that because Jimmy wasn't in The Force Among Us, and he's become a dear friend, and his whole family has become really good friends over the years. He was in The Force Among Us director's cut because we literally pressed 1977 copies, and they sold out, thanks to probably half of you guys in the room. And there was another podcast group that I interviewed because I contacted them before Jimmy contacted me. And I did a phantom edit. And in the director's cut, I put Jimmy Mack over these evil podcasters that I will not mention. So
it's a phantom edit.
It's a phantom edit.
But this is the original, right?
This is the original, and this is so so crazy that I haven't seen an original, and I'd actually borrow an original from an in-law because Glenn actually.
Yeah.
When
Your
I met
cousin
Glenn in 2009.
Oh no, Glenn. Okay, this Glenn.
He goes, dude, you don't need to sell all your movies. He's like, you're gonna have kids and grandkids. He's like, save it for them. And I never saved any. I just
told you, man.
You did tell me. So now I'm borrowing it from the in-laws that I gave him to his Christmas gifts. You know.
And the interesting thing you were talking about, thanking all the folks that had bought the movie. I mean, you did this. This was sort of crowdsourcing before crowdsourcing was a real thing. You didn't have Kickstarter. You didn't have all this technology that people have now. You had just a website that you built yourself and put it out there to have people back the project, essentially, and buy these DVDs from you.
I think that's why I'm sitting on 2 film projects now. That the Toys R Us documentary that's in post-production. Right. And the real fans of the saga, the spin-off of the Real Housewives of Orange County, and I think to tell you the truth, I think I just got so burnt out and you guys know what burnt out is all about, man. I mean,
what are you talking about?
Just hit a brick wall,
No, it's never
like that trivia
happened.
Contest. I know.
No, man. You got to keep going. You got to keep your head down. You got to plow forward. No downtime when it comes to Star Wars, Chris.
And
I've been saying that to you for years.
You have, and you guys have been a huge inspiration. To keep going. And has anybody seen The Force Within Us, the sequel? Yeah. That really is. The Force Within Us is, even though Carl Cunningham, the thief, Carl Cunningham is in that movie. I got to make a Phantom Menace with him.
You're checking off all the boxes. Evil podcasters.
Evil Star Wars thieves. But the Force Within Us has you interviewed at your house with your wife, Wendy, stories with Wendy, stories with your kids. Ashley Eckstein, who is still a beautiful person to this day. Jeremy Bullock's in it. Robert Watts is in it. We filmed in Northern California, in Endor, and Death Valley. To me, that is really where like you said, the passion. I was actually disappointed with The Force Among Us because it was my first film, and after 6 years of burning desire to make another film, the Force Within Us was born, which caused me to burn out again.
Well, but you had these incredible experience of visiting these locations, where these iconic locations where Star Wars actually was filmed. And was that what really prompted you to say, yes, I want to do a film, or was it, I want to do a film and go to these locations?
When we filmed in Norway, everything was kind of falling into place. Kind of like meeting you guys, And a friend of mine in Belgium, Mark, he was leading these people on these tours. Like, he took me to Tunisia, where Anthony Forrest was.
Right.
And after I went to Tunisia in 2005, I was like, wow, how am I going to top that? And then me and my sister had the idea to do The Force Among Us. And then Mark was going to Norway. Mm-hmm. And I was going to do a Skype interview with him from Norway. And my ex-wife's cousin, who really made the first film for me, he goes, no, we gotta go to Norway. He's like, you can't do a Skype interview. So again, no crowdsource funding. Me and Courtney split the bill. It was $10,000 to get the film crew to Norway, which is a lot of money now, but more money in 2007.
Yeah, this is true.
And, then when I did the sequel to go to Northern California, Endor, and then Death Valley, that was just kind of picking up where we left off.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and it was like with the Force Among Us, it was sort of the closing of a chapter, because that was right around.
Yeah, it was.
After Revenge of the Sith came out,
yeah.
and you were pretty bummed out. You thought that was it. I remember you saying you thought that was it.
At the time, that was it. And the funny thing is, The Force Among Us, it's old now, but it's still more timeless to me than I think The Force Within Us is kind of dated, even though it was made several years after. But there was a lot of talk about Star Wars not happening. And in The Force Among Us, it was more about the celebration of what we just went through.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was that in 2005, it was kind of like 1992 all over again. It was that dark era where it's like Star Wars is not really going to happen anymore. But George obviously, had different ideas, and sold the company, and here we are.
Well, and I remember you making the documentary. I mean, you were first inspired to do so because there was going to be no more Star Wars coming out. So you wanted to find that way to keep you at...
That's the note.
I thought we were going to start doing a bit. Song and dance number, Glenn? Impromptu?
We got to get Lando Puppet back up here to sing this song,
Sorry, just getting a beer.
No, it's okay. Don't worry about it. But like, you were trying to keep the flame alive with the prospect of nothing new on the horizon.
Yeah.
And so I think it was a lot of fans who sort of had that inner passion for Star Wars and wanted to do whatever they could to maintain a connection to it. I think that sort of energy is what finally brought Star Wars back. I mean, it was the fans really keeping it alive for a long time. And I can't, what kind of film franchises really promote that sort of dedication from their fan base?
Well, if the fans don't keep it alive, it's
right.
We're going to be at Celebration 20, and it's going to be at
John Carter from Mars celebration. That's the case. That was a good movie too.
It's going to be at a VFW hall.
It was a good movie, but it didn't get the fan support. And being out here in the Chicago area, we've kind of all gotten together. Like Star Wars fans, we managed to find each other. And you certainly have introduced a lot of great...
Yes.
It is true. I mean, we're all here, right?
Chicago.
Yeah, we all found each other. My dad always used to say that. They always find each other. You've introduced a lot of really quality people to my life. Of course, your sister and your friends from the real fans of the saga. I guess reality show is what it was. And you started out with 4 of you, and now there's only 3.
Yeah.
And so we just wanted to take a moment to pay tribute a little bit to a friend of ours who we lost to cancer earlier this year. And
Anybody was a Kickstarter supporter, the real fans?
Yeah, we got a few
guys
here.
Back? Okay. Real fans of the saga is it was funny. Jimmy's like, you can't call it the real fans of the saga. They're going to be so pissed at you. I'm like, no, it's not the real. It's not like we are the real fans. My wife is a huge fan of the Real Housewives series, and every time I'm crashing out, my wife has that on, and I'm like, that would be cool to do a Star Wars spin-off reality show, kind of like the Real Housewives of XYZ. And one of our friends, there was 4 of us that kind of starred in this reality series. And my friend Bo, who I've known for 20 plus years, Jimmy, Bo lived by your dad, right?
No, his dad is in my neighborhood.
His dad is in your neighborhood. That's right. So, you have kind of a close connection to him as well.
Absolutely.
And my friend Bo just passed away from cancer in 5 days before Christmas, and if anybody if anybody knew Bo, I printed off a couple buttons that I'm giving away for free to just kind of commemorate him at Star Wars Celebration. Went to the last. Thank you very much. And Bo being from Chicago, and I remember him telling Jimmy, he's like, "Oh my God, I'm so excited that Celebration is down the street from my house." Bo lived like 10 minutes away from here. And I went to the last 2 celebrations with him. I brought Bo to his first celebration in Anaheim. And he was at your party in Anaheim.
Yeah.
Anybody at the...
He performed. He played percussion with the band.
Anybody at the Rebel Force Radio Bash in Anaheim?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Bo was there.
And, it's just kind of sad that he's not here, and it was just... timing was so close. I mean, he passed away, 3 months ago, 4 months ago.
It's still pretty fresh. So
yeah, it's very fresh.
We were planning on celebrating his full recovery this week. So,
yes, we were, and he's not here with us. I'm bringing his wife and his daughter though. On me, I bought their tickets for tomorrow, so they can at least experience it.
That's nice.
In his memory, But someday I will release the full 12 episodes on Amazon Prime of the real fans of the saga. It's supposed to be sooner than later, so watch for that on Amazon Prime.
It's just like George Lucas.
Yeah.
He'll get around to it.
George Lucas is an inspiration in a good way and a bad way. You know? Yeah, you know what? So if you didn't know Bo, and if you knew Bo, just raise your glass. Even if you got a glass of water, if you got an RC, a Coke, this is to Bo Glazer, a good friend of mine and Jimmy's. Cheers, salute. To Bo. A moment of...
To Bo Glazer.
To Bo Glazer.
I think Glenn Nelson has a musical selection that he's going to play you here as we wrap things up.
I'm going to jam on this one with you.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, you guys can play together.
Grab your djembe.
I'll play right.
Tell us a little bit about this song and how it connects to our fallen comrade.
This is a song that I wrote with that man right over there, Tullis, a.k.a. Shaz Bazaar.
Shaz Bazaar is here. Does anybody listen to the Techno Retro Dad show?
Yeah.
All right. Where's
awesome show.
Stuart Tullis, Shaz Bazaar. Where is he? Oh, there he is. Another longtime friend of ours who's been with us since the very beginning, really. There he is.
So happy that he was keeping score instead of me.
And, of course, Stuart was he stole the show at the last celebration as the best damn Hondo Naka you could ever see cosplaying on the convention floor. And Dave Filoni was very impressed by you. I'm surprised he didn't take you home with him.
Hey, and before Glenn starts the song for Bo, I want to raise a glass again. Thank you to Jimmy and Jason for bringing us all together, keeping this alive.
Thanks, Chris.
Cheers, man.
To you guys.
Cheers.
Appreciate it. So go ahead, Glenn.
So it's a song that I wrote with Shaz, and it's off the first album. And it's a song about how Star Wars brings us together as friends, family, brothers. So this one's for Bo. It's called The Circle is Complete. A lifetime ago and so far away, summers of sun, we'd run and we'd play, discovered a story of hope and despair, and found ourselves something to share. A tale filled with darkness that's blacker than night, of freedom's refusal to die without fight, where a boy becomes a white knight. Rescue a princess, blast into space. A bicycle ride was a speeder bike chase. Laser swords clashed in a duel with a friend. We thought those days never would end. But boys become men, days stretch into years. Dreams become threatened with doubts and with fears. Overcome them with blood, sweat, and tears. Heroes and villains and right versus wrong. The chronicler's story, the composer's sweet song. The artist's revision upon our mind's eye. Our soul soared into the sky. Our soul soared into the sky. Lessons those legends taught us still remain. One little victory is worth all the pain. People aren't things to be used for our ends, and family is found in our friends. Well, the boy of the past is a man now who's grown, a husband and father with kids of his own, who passes on what he has known. Heroes and villains and right versus wrong. The chronicler's story, the composer's sweet song. The artist's revision upon our mind's eye. Our soul soared into the sky. Well, yesterday's gone, all that's left is today. You can never go home, the philosophers say. But a circle completed goes back to its start. And a home is a state of the heart. And home is a state of the heart.
'Cause heroes and villains and right versus wrong, the chronicler's story, the composer's sweet song, the artist's revision upon our mind's eye, our soul soared into the sky, our soul soared into the sky. 'Cause heroes and villains and right versus wrong, a tale told with passion to make our faith strong, enfolds us and binds us, ties and tethers, and brings family together, and brings family together. That's for you, bro.
Go Glazer. Go Glazer.